Steven, come è dato il viaggio?
Grazie. That's all I know.
You have no idea what I just said.
No clue.
How long were you in Italy?
2 weeks.
And you have no idea what I'm saying.
Nope.
Como è dato il viaggio?
No clue what that. It feels like I know what. I know the como.
No, you see, we're back like nothing's changed. Steven already muting himself on his mic.
It's by accident.
Yeah, I'm sure. Como andato il viaggio is how was your trip?
Well, it was amazing. I want to get my mic working. Hang on.
No, it's all good. Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. Oh, he figured out something?
Oh, this wire is totally messed up. No wonder it doesn't work.
That's probably why.
This plug is screwed up. Hang on.
All right. While Steven plays an IT guy live on the stream, what's going on, everybody? We're back on a Wednesday, and yeah, Steven's back from his trip from Italy. Last time I checked in with him, he was in Tuscany when the Devontae Adams trade went down. So we'll get all to that and what Steven's missed. By the way, it was looking like we didn't have to really go into the World Series tonight because it looked like the Yankees were running away with this thing and there was going to be a Game 6 in LA on Friday. Game's tied up now. It's 5-5. The Dodgers had a hell of a fifth inning, and now it is all tied up after the Yankees had a 5-0 lead. It is 5-5, and I'm sure all the Giants fans out there have their buttholes clenched, and tonight might be tonight.
Well, this is like we're basically competing right now with Barstool Sports, with John Boy Media. We are watching the game live, essentially, but not showing the screen. They just have like a much more elaborate setup where they got couches and sponsors, bunch of actual Yankees and Dodgers fans, and watching a big TV screen. You and I just in our apartment complexes. Actually, I was gonna go up to my normal place at the table, but this game got too good. I had to sit at the couch.
No, I don't blame you. And we will break in with any live coverage, but well, not live coverage. We can't go live to the game. You can't go to. Here's John Sterling with the call right now. No, we'll give you live updates. But yeah, Steven, I mean, I know Barstool's got their couches and everything, but we got our own couches. You're sitting on yours. I got mine right behind me. You're muted again.
Yeah.
And well, sponsors one of these days. I got my Almanac hat somewhere. I'm trying to get a sponsorship out of them. The brewery in Alameda. Good people out there. We've been there a couple times for Tolbert and Cope's brewery show. So.
And you've been trying to get a sponsor for what?
For our podcast.
Really?
Well, I'm saying that loosely. I've been wearing the hat enough on the podcast where hopefully one of these days the owner Kevin's like, "Hey, all right, let's pay those guys."
Yeah. well, keep doing that, man.
Yeah.
If you need a wingman, I'll help you out. But back to the trip. Now that I think I got my mic working, I'm gonna try not to move this. I'm gonna need a new cord. Actually, this isn't good.
Was your trip bellissimo?
See. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, dude, it was.
That's beautiful.
It's the best. Yeah, I know what that means. It's the best, man. Just so different. And like we started in Rome, went to Florence, went to Venice, and Rome is just filled with such history, you know, and like it was.
No, you're muted again, Steven.
Packed. Yeah, I'm this. Okay, you know what? Whatever. This damn mic. I did not.
Mike. Your mouth is close enough to the computer screen anyway.
I did not know that this wire was completely jacked up, but look at the insert here. It's completely crooked.
That wire is suffering from Peyronie's disease. A little bent carrot action there.
Yes. Rome is just different, man. It is. It's just everything's so old and just so ancient.
It's old. You're too old, Rome.
like everything, but it's filled with such history, and then everyone's smoking cigarettes. You know, that's that's what's fun. Everyone.
Anytime you go to Europe, people are just got heaters going.
Yeah, But yeah, we went to we did all the big things there: Vatican, Colosseum, St. Peter's, the popular church. Though they had a lot of things like under maintenance.
Oh man, I thought Giancarlo Stanton just jacked it.
Wow, my
It's
way
saying that
behind.
out of context. That sounds weird. I thought he just hit a home run.
Wow, my way behind or what? Did I hit
Yankees just took the lead 6-5 thanks to a sacrifice fly from Giancarlo Stanton. You know how I know things are going down? Even though my windows are closed, people at the athletic club are screaming so loudly that I know when shit's about to happen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, kind of annoying.
That's exciting. Okay, so I'm up to speed now.
Okay.
What was I saying? So Rome is just
Oh yeah, my trip to Italy, Lily.
yeah, with everything there. And then Florence was our favorite though. Florence was was just different. Just such a small city, and you just walk 5 minutes, and you know, within those 5 minutes you'll probably be in the middle of a shopping center, next to a cafe, next to a place where you can eat, where you can drink, all these sorts of things. Just so many things to see. And that's when I went to Tuscany. And Tuscany's like a half hour. Tuscany's a half-hour drive from Florence, and we did a little wine tour. And yeah, when I was 4 glasses of wine deep, or no, yeah, 4. We went to 2 wineries, and they gave us 4 glasses of wine at that winery.
Mm-hmm.
And afterwards, as we are going to buy quite a bit of it and have it shipped to the United States for a pretty good, pretty decent amount of money.
Yeah, I figured.
I'm waiting there in line to purchase this thing, about to spend a lot, and then Jesse comes in with Devontae Adams traded to the Jets. I'm like, what? You know, so
it's always when you're on vacation, man.
It is. And it could have happened. It could have happened in a worse setting. It was kind of hard to be mad when I was in Tuscany on a wine tour. And, you know, I'm probably, by the time I made that video that I sent you, I'm probably 8 glasses deep at that point.
I could tell, I could see it in your eyes. And the best part was when you were going through everything. And then you were like, you got the camera zoomed on your face and you're like, you know what? I could care less about the Raiders trading away Devontae Adams. I could care less.
Yeah. I didn't know what to say. Before I do forget from that trip.
Yes.
So it was with a big group of people. First place sat with these random, I think like 4 people who were all from different parts of America, like from Pennsylvania, from Chicago. And then the next place we went to, there was a couple of ladies from Indiana traveling together. I think they were part of some group and kind of ventured off on this wine tour. And then a trio from Germany. And a couple of things. Shout out to Anke, Maike, and Jonas. Yeah, we got to chatting a little bit, and they found out we had the podcast, and got them following the podcast.
Hell yeah!
They followed the Instagram page, and they're supporters of the Just Your Opinion Man podcast officially.
All right, shout out to Jonas, Anke, Donke,
Anka, and Maike. I think.
Okay,
is how you pronounce it.
Jonas stands out with that trio of names.
Well, a couple of cool things though. They told me that Germany's really getting into the NFL, like the fact that they're going to Munich. They said Germans love it. Like it's becoming a pretty big deal, which is cool. And also asked a little bit about basketball. Just like, is basketball popular there? I'm like, Germany did okay in the World Cup, I think. And they said, yeah, you know, Dennis Schroeder's popular, but Dirk Nowitzki.
Oh, of course.
Dirk is number 1. It's pronounced Dirk.
Dirk?
Dirk. It is not Dirk.
Good to know.
Is Dirk from now on. And I'm calling him Dirk. Everyone else can call him Dirk if they want.
No, it's kind of like it's kind of like how you're still the only person that says Tyrod Taylor.
Well, it's his fucking name.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, we're lazy as Americans.
He's like, hey, it's literally my birth name is Tyrod, but everyone called me Tyrod, so I just rolled with it. Everyone's like, oh, all right, well, we're calling you Tyrod.
Yeah. basically.
No one
If
cared.
you can't change in sports, like if someone came out of nowhere and said like, "Hey, my name's this now," like Josh Allen, the pass rusher for the Jaguars,
Right.
I'll never call him Josh Allen Hines. He will always be Josh Allen to me. It's just too much.
Fair.
Well, Steven, I'm glad you're back, but it sounds like you had an awesome time in Italy. So you
Oh,
just
in Venice. In Venice too. Venice was
oh,
amazing.
I'm sure it was beautiful. So probably the most beautiful place you've ever been to in your life.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I figured.
Yeah.
And you've been back since last Wednesday, and you went straight to work. So has it been kind of like, oh man, I'm like, are you glad to be back, or also you're like, damn, the most beautiful 2 weeks of my life is over?
A little bit of both. Like
Yeah,
I'm glad to be back when sports are busy and everything's going on. It did feel like I was missing out on quite a bit as far as sports, though. Did manage to find a couple of there's a lot of Irish pubs in Italy, believe it or not.
I could
They
see
have a
that.
good chunk of them. And in Florence, there was one in particular that had that random Monday game with the Dodgers and Mets on in the afternoon. But
Yeah.
for us, I mean, that was, it started at 10 o'clock at night. So we were at that bar pretty much for the entire game until like
Shit,
2
you've
a.m.
been gone for the entire MLB playoffs, huh?
Most of them, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it could wrap up all tonight. We will keep you updated. The Yankees still on top, 6-5, as they are in the top of the sixth. Or no, bottom of the sixth. Bottom of the sixth.
Mm-hmm.
So we will keep you abreast, a booby, of anything with the World Series. Real quick, Warriors started while you were gone, but I know you've been watching. Just real quick, we're 4 games into this. I think the fifth game's tonight. What's your early thoughts on these Golden State Warriors?
Well, I mean, I did get back the day that I got back was their opening night game against the Blazers. So I've been back since the regular season started, and God, if they're anything, they're entertaining. I don't know if this is a sustainable thing, going with the 12-man rotation. I think, it's fun early in the season, but I think Steve Kerr is making it really, really hard on himself. There's a reason that coaches got to keep with 9 to 10, right? Like there's
Yeah.
I mean, it's to make you think less about certain aspects of that game. But I don't know, if it works, it works. Buddy Hield has been a revelation, but I'm kind of waiting for, these moments where maybe the fan base kind of turns on him a little bit, kind of like with Michael Connell and the Sacramento Kings. Because I feel like Michael kind of echoed what a lot of Kings fans were frustrated by with Hield, which was his lack of defense when he wasn't consistently scoring threes.
Yeah, KMBR's Michael Connell has been very vocal to Warrior fans, saying, "Calm your tits about old Buddy Hield. He has peaks and valleys. He's doing well right now, filling in for Klay Thompson, actually playing better than Klay Thompson, I would say, last year. But we'll see what happens. We'll see how he is defensively. Lindy Waters was awesome last night. I love the depth. I think that it's good strength in numbers right now. It's early. They beat up on the likes of the Pelicans last night. I don't know what the score is right now, but we'll keep you live on that one.
Abreast of that one too.
Abreast of that, we're keeping boobies all over the place. But they beat up on the Pelicans last night, and they're down. DeJounte, is it Dejounte Murray? DeJounte Murray. They beat up on the Trailblazers opening night. They beat up on the Utah Jazz. They lost to the Clippers. So I want to see how they're going to be against a good team. I will say this. The talk today has been Jonathan Kuminga was benched, as the way Sham Charania put it in the tweet. And that's not really his doing. That's the graphic artist when they send out those tweets.
Dude. When you see that type of graphic, how
benched.
you see that's exactly what happens in my head. Like in the background, it's that same voice that does Fatality in Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
Like it's just
benched. It's very serious. It's for dramatic effect. Look, Jonathan Kuminga had his best performance last night coming off the bench, and he's off the bench tonight as well. We'll see how it goes. But I think everybody needs to calm the fuck down about Jonathan Kuminga. I think we got to stop treating this guy like he's a superstar. He has a lot of potential, but before the season, where you're entitled to bet on yourself and not want to sign a contract, that's fine. But to say like he anticipates, being like a Kawhi Leonard or a Pascal Siakam, I haven't seen that yet. And Moses Moody decided to sign his contract. It is what it is, and I was annoyed with his, him being upset with Steve Kerr about not getting the minutes he wanted and whatnot. Just play right now, and I think Warriors fans just need to give Steve Kerr the benefit of the doubt. I think that they're playing really well. Sometimes there's going to be games where Jonathan Kuminga starts. There's going to be games where Jonathan Kuminga comes off the bench. It's all about matchups. And I think that in the NBA, people want to bitch and complain about shit. That really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter who starts the game. It matters who finishes the game. So, Lindy Waters coming in the second half, he was the player of the game last night, but he didn't start that game. So, the whole Jason Tatum over the summertime, people just need to scream and complain about something with Steve Kerr. So I would tell everybody, let's pump the brakes on Jonathan Kuminga. Let's see if he's worth a max contract. To me, he hasn't earned it the way that these other guys have. This is a team that has won 4 championships. There's established guys. This kind of reeks of Patrick McCaw thinking that he needs playing. And I know that Jonathan Kuminga is a way better player than Patrick McCaw. But I'm sorry. I just don't see it with this guy. I think that times he flashes, but I think that fans need to chill out on, saying that what the fuck is Steve Kerr doing? Let Steve Kerr do his thing.
Yeah,
it's paying off so far. They're 3-1. Let's see how it goes. Give him the benefit of the doubt after having 4 championships.
I think they have, but the Kuminga thing. Does anyone really think he's worth that max contract?
He does.
Well, yeah, but at least afterwards, he kind of said it is what it is. They're not going to give me the contract. I'm just going to go out there and play my best. He could have made a stink out of it, and he could have been like a Brandon Ayuk or Hassan Reddick type.
True.
CeeDee Lamb or whatever. But I think I kind of like the way that he handled it afterwards. I have no problem with you trying to get your money, but at the same time, the way he responded, I kind of respected that. And is he even worth like a benched graphic?
Well, that's the thing. It's pretty clear.
Forget the $200 million. Is he even worth a graphic that says benched? Because Kuminga's kind of rotated between the bench and the starting 5 for a lot of his career.
That's what I thought, and it's clear that he was upset that he was not starting last night. So he goes to his agent, or his agent goes to Sham Charania, and says that he's not playing. He's not starting. So they obviously he's put off by that, but Clay, you understood it because of what he accomplished with the Warriors. To me, Kuminga he needs to play. That's the bottom line. Just earn that contract. You're not going to do yourself any favors by being the guy that's demonstrative. So it's early. We haven't seen anything with him having kind of like the thing he did last year where he spoke to Sham Charania to The Athletic and saying,
right,
either I need to get playing time or I'm out of here. So we'll see where it goes. Very early for the Warriors. They're actually leaning right now against the Pelicans. I think Andrew Wiggins came back tonight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did. He was good to go.
Good. And then Steph Curry, I was worried on Sunday night that he really hurt himself with the ankle injury. But as Steve Kerr put it, he thinks it's kind of, not, it's not the biggest, ankle injury he's ever had. I forget the terminology he used, but
mild to moderate.
That's it, mild to moderate, and he will be reevaluated on Friday. So we'll see if he plays, I think, on Saturday against the Rockets.
Ernie, too, saying it might be the Jordan Poole situation all over again if we pay him. Have you
with
seen
Kuminga?
With Kuminga? I don't know about that, but have you seen Jordan Poole?
Dude, before the season, he rubbed me the wrong way where he was getting interviewed, I think, the day before the season started, and they asked him, what do you need to prove this season? He's like, I don't need to prove anything. It's like, yeah, you do.
He's killing it right now, though.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, at least individually.
Yeah.
Not team-wise. Wizards stink, but...
Well, yeah. And then Clay has good performances, and he has bad performances. Opening night, he was great. Last night, he scored 7 points, so...
Right.
That's going to happen. Anyway, let's get to some football. And I should tell you, Alon, last podcast, almost died doing the hot sauce. It was bad. Because he forgot a lot. We had to do it a lot later at 8:15 every night or every Tuesday night because he has a class. So he would do it out of his office, but he forgot every night. So then he was like, okay, I owe you like 3 weeks in a row. So he just put a shit ton of habanero and ghost chili
Oh,
on,
jeez.
I guess, like some chips or no, a piece of bread last time, a piece of bread, and
No,
ate it.
no.
And he said, oh, I'm hyperventilating here. And I'm like, oh shit, dude, are you okay? So he did his picks last Saturday or last Friday. We did picks. I haven't tallied them up. I'll get the total to you guys on Saturday when we do our next podcast. And whatever happens, I'll gladly do the hot sauce. If Alon lost, we'll along the line, down the line, if he comes back on, in a few weeks or whatnot, I'll have him do it. But I'll tell him to go easy on the hot sauce because everybody here was kind of worried for his safety.
Yeah,
after
so
that
you're
one.
telling me he almost died.
He didn't almost die. He just, almost passed out. His face got red.
Man.
He was sweating profusely. He could barely get any words out. It was bad.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that should have been clipped and posted.
Yeah, we may have to go back and I think one of the Ernie's posted it. It was pretty hilarious.
Oh.
I love laughing at your guys' pain whenever you suffer from the hot sauce. So speaking of suffering, let's talk about some Raiders football.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Steven, you've missed I don't know how many games, probably 4, whatever it is. We talked about the whole thing with Antonio Pierce calling out the team, saying people are making business decisions. We went through the whole Devontae Adams thing. He got traded while you were gone, and now the team is 2-6. Haven't won a game since he's been traded. What is your thoughts on the team right now?
He's saying I missed 4 games?
Is it 4 games or more?
I was literally gone 2 weeks, dude. I wasn't gone.
Oh, shit. I don't know. My concept of time is obviously fucked.
No, I did miss the I didn't watch the one against the Rams live, and did watch the Chiefs one though.
Okay.
Didn't watch the Steelers one. Didn't catch the one against the Steelers, but yeah, did manage to watch the Rams.
I guess it's been 4 games that you and I haven't talked about. I should say. Okay.
It's been a while. It's been a long time.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Look, man. Obviously, they need to rebuild and retool, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, the silver lining is this draft class hasn't been too bad. But look, I'll get to the game. Here's my only question. What happened to these Mahomes rules that we heard so much about?
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't see them get very physical with Mahomes. Like, if you're going to talk like that, why didn't your team stand on it? I thought your team was supposed to be that team that instills violence, physicality, pain, whatever words he used to start the season. And it kind of feels like he's been playing defense, Antonio Pierce, that is, with pretty much everybody, because he talked about like the coaching and how it's not necessarily the coaching, it's the execution. But against the Chiefs, like, Gardner Minshew didn't look like terrible for a majority of the game, but he had the fumble. And Luke Getsy played conservative. And I think that's what stood out to me is Steve Spagnuolo as defensive coordinator for the Chiefs. He's not going to go away. Like, he's just not. It feels like he's been with the Chiefs for decades, but really he's just been their D coordinator since 2019. It hasn't been that long. He has a lot more years left, and I don't think he plans on becoming a head coach. I don't think he's going to leave his post as defensive.
No, he might.
He could, but it feels like he's going to remain with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And what I saw on Sunday was an offensive coordinator in Luke Getsy who was scared of Steve Spagnuolo's defense, scared of running the football, failing to establish the run. I think it starts with the offensive coordinator. And that drive, or rather not that drive, I guess you could call it a sequence, whatever. The 3 straight drives where they were inside Chiefs territory, once inside their 28 and once inside like their 3-yard line. And all they can net is 10 plays, 14 yards out of it or something crazy like that. It was the sorriest piece of offense I've seen from the Raiders in a while. In that position with those opportunities, the defense doing its job, just sad.
Yeah.
Sad. I went big picture at first and then realized I had to go talk about the game.
No, I mean, that's fair. We could go big picture here in a little bit here, but Yeah, they lose once again to the Chiefs after all the talk of the offseason. Antonio Pierce coming up with the Mahomes rules, saying on Max Crosby's podcast, we're going to be physical, elbows, I'm touching you. I'm making you felt every single play. I'm hitting you. And, they got physical with him, but also there was always somebody in the flat to the right side, whether it was a running back or a tight end. So they knew that was going to happen. And, the Kermit stuff, whatever. I don't really put that on the Raiders. That was more a fan-driven thing. But they got pictures of Raider players having fun with the puppet. So, or Muppet, I should say. Sorry, I don't want to piss off the Jim Henson people. But, yeah, Mahomes did his same thing. And that sequence, I can't even say drive, that sequence where the Raiders had the ball pretty close to the end zone after the Trayvon Merrick interception, that was the most pitiful thing I've seen of Raiders football in quite some time. 2 shotgun runs. I actually want to say 3 shotgun runs. And then Gardner Minshew trips over his own feet and they get sacked on 4th and goal and they get no points out of that. This offense is abysmal. And I think it's worse than what it was with Josh McDaniels. And I thought that Luke Getsy would bring something different to this offense, but it sucks. It just sucks. And me and Alon talked about it. I think Gardner Minshew has just been an utter disappointment. Ian O'Connell didn't do much better when he came in, but he's hurt now. And I don't know. I mean, you could see what you got with him at the end of the season. It kind of feels like it's 2006 all over again, where we're going from Aaron Brooks to Andrew Walter. Same shit. We're going from Aiden O'Connell to Gardner Minshew, back to Aiden O'Connell, back to Gardner Minshew. Maybe we'll throw in Desmond Ridder for a surprise appearance here or there.
Yep.
The reality is, we talked about this ad nauseum, but this team cannot compete without a quarterback. They thought they can get by this season with Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, and they tried their damnedest to draft Michael Penix, but then they got boned. No one expected them to have the Falcons get him.
Yeah.
So there are pieces on this team, but they're not going to be good unless they get a quarterback. Like they are miles and miles beyond the Broncos, the Chargers, and obviously the Chiefs. Because I don't think Bo Nix is lighting it up, but he's winning right now, and he can only get better, hopefully, with Sean Payton. Hopefully for him. I don't give 2 shits, honestly. But the Raiders are just that far behind from everybody else. And I do think they need the first overall pick badly. I do. Patriots won against the Jets, so maybe that helps. But out of all the teams in the NFL right now, I think the Raiders need the first overall pick the most because, I mean, we'll get into it, Steven, big picture-wise. Tom Brady is going to be the quarterback whisperer for Shedeur Sanders this offseason. I would love for them to go after Cam Ward, but you see all the pictures of, I guess, like UFC events where it's Mark Davis and Shedeur Sanders, and I guess Tom Brady's known him since he was a kid. It looks like it's going in that direction. So as far as the game, I thought that it was the most lively I've seen the Raiders on both sides of the ball. I thought they played very well defensively against the Rams, but the offense was just piss poor. This game that came to life, Gardner Minshew throwing a touchdown pass to Jacoby Myers. Brock Bowers is a great player. They have pieces on the offense and they have pieces on the defense. But I just think that it's like, why does it take the Chiefs to get this team ready to go? Like, they won this game. They lost this game by 7 points. It was close. They were in it, but they totally pissed down their legs at moments.
They should have won the game.
Yeah, they should have probably, but they're just not that good enough. They're not good at winning games. The Chiefs have not looked like themselves for most of the season, but they know how to win. They get by-in games. They kind of look like the Eagles a year ago at this point, but they're just winning games, and they've won Super Bowls, so you can't really question them at this point.
I think one of the and the worst part for the Raiders, if you want to get really into the specifics of the game, was the Chiefs offense managing to find openings on third down. They were 12 of 16 on third down, 12 of 16. And how many of those went to Kelsey? So many.
Well, how about them getting my guy DeAndre Hopkins now, finally, a year and a half later?
There you go. You know, I thought the Raiders defense did fine. It's honestly not the Raiders defense that I'm it's not the Raiders defense that I'm going to lambast here for this loss.
Yeah.
It's not even the offense either. It's the way they constructed it. It's the fact that this team really does feel like, they're a coach and a quarterback away, but they had their opportunity to get an offensive coordinator, and they got the guy who was considered the worst in the league from the Chicago Bears. They had Cliff Kingsbury at first. Then obviously he went to Washington. What does that tell you? The fact that Davante Adams is traded, what does that tell you? Oh, here's the best part. This was my favorite part from the game. When Madison got stuffed during that drive, when they were on the 3 and Madison got stuffed, CBS ran the graphic along the bottom bar with the rushing leaders for the day. Josh Jacobs, 25 carries, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. So I'm not saying they should have paid Josh Jacobs, but the fact that they said, Zamir White is going to be the guy going forward and we'll be fine with the backups. Yeah, that's not the case at all.
He's not that guy. Yeah, the irony of trading away Davante Adams was getting Luke Getsy was supposed to appease him, and it didn't help at all because the offense is just terrible. It's interesting you say they are coach and quarterback away. Definitely quarterback. I think that's blatantly obvious to everyone that they need to address the quarterback position this offseason. If they don't, they failed once again. But I think it's going to be really hard not to, because I think this team is going to be really bad. I mean, they already are. They're 2-6. But I think they finish pretty high in the draft. And I brought this up with Alon, and people were mad at me because they're saying I'm being hypocritical because I hated when Khalil Mack got traded. I did think of possibly trading away Max Crosby. I think that the Lions are so desperate right now for pass rush that you would only give up Max Crosby if you offer 2 first-round picks. If you're the Lions, if they give up 2 first-round picks, I make that move, and that way you satisfy a lot of needs. I mean, you're most likely going to get a quarterback in the first round, but I think you need a lot of help. I think you need a number 1 wide receiver. I think you need, more offensive line help. Tyree Wilson, came into his own last week, but it's not been consistent enough. They're not going to trade Max Crosby. Mark Davis made that pretty obvious by emailing people in the media that they're not trading Max Crosby, even after the trade deadline, which, I thought that was ridiculous. But as far as a quarterback and a coach, Alon texted me this after the game, and he said, I think that the Raiders, Telesco, Davis, screwed Antonio Pierce with this roster. And it would be a disservice to the players and the fans to go through another head coach. And my reaction was, I hear you, but this is basically the same roster that he had last year when they went 8-9. And let's be real, too. The teams that they beat were the likes of the Giants when Daniel Jones tore his ACL and they had Tommy DeVito, Zach Wilson, and the Jets. They beat the Chiefs, but that was when the Chiefs were not playing well. So they beat up on a lot of shitty teams, and they finished with a second-place schedule. So now they're playing harder opponents, and they're getting their ass kicked.
Yeah.
And I question why, it can't just be like, well, the players didn't come to play against Carolina. Well, why not? Isn't that an Antonio Pierce? Why is it that they came to play against the Chiefs and not against Carolina and Denver? I mean, against a rookie quarterback, you're up 10-0, and then you get shit stomped. There's been a lot of cases this year where Antonio Pierce has not acted like a mature adult coach, in my opinion. All of the bulletin board material he gave this team in the offseason, and there's going to be so many coaches available. And you have to believe, I don't think that Bill Belichick's the answer. You have to believe with Tom Brady now in the ownership group that they're going to try to get Mike Vrabel. I think that makes the most sense, but maybe not. Maybe they want to hang on to Antonio Pierce. But to me, I don't know. I just don't think they can compete in that division with this coach. Now, I want to see how they play the rest of the season. But right now, I'm leaning towards being one and done with Antonio Pierce.
I am too, because I just don't think he's ready for this spot. I don't think he's ready for this position. I know they haven't done him really any favors with the roster, but there are different things about this team with how undisciplined they are. I think they're like last in the league in penalties again, or first in the league, depending on whichever way you want to slice it. Defensively, they're fine, but a lot of that is because of Max Crosby. And to your idea of trading Crosby, I'd have to see what the return would be. And
if it was 2 first-round picks, would you pull the trigger?
Yeah, I probably would. I think they're at that point, but it's not happening.
No, it's not happening, and I totally get it. It's kind of the same thing with Myles Garrett with the Browns. It probably makes sense financially to move off from him, but it's so hard to find pass rush. So I totally get why they want to hang on to him. He's one of the best pass rushers in this league. You only make this move if you're not confident you're going to get the quarterback that you want. But the way that it is right now, if it ends up being the Patriots number 1 and the Raiders 2 or the Raiders 3 or the Raiders 4, the Patriots aren't drafting a quarterback. Tom Brady calls up Robert Kraft and say, let's make a deal.
Well, let's take a look here. So I got Tankathon up. Raiders would draft 7th, according to Tankathon.
There's a lot of two-win teams right now, yeah.
Well, so Saints wouldn't. Jags wouldn't. Jets, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think the Patriots would.
No.
Tennessee.
Carolina would.
Tennessee and Carolina, probably no, but or Carolina would, but Tennessee probably not. They probably think Will Levis is the guy. I don't know. If the Raiders stick in this spot even, then maybe they could get a highly touted quarterback in that spot. But I have another theory, kind of like it's going to be in the same vein as Bryce Young. But what would you think about trying to trade for Anthony Richardson?
I would not make that move right now. And I don't think the Colts want to either. I think that we'll talk about it later when we do quick hits.
Feels like Steichen don't want him. Just saying.
Yeah, but I think he did that was his first year as head coach. And I think that Flacco gives him the best chance to win right now. But like I told you when the Raiders were kind of rumored to be a team interested in Anthony Richardson, it's going to be a lot of growing pains. There's times where he flashes and it looks amazing.
Right.
But goddamn, is he inaccurate.
He's the definition of boomer bust.
Yes.
Boomer doom.
And we'll get to it later, but him pulling himself out of that game is terrible.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrible.
Well, do you trust that this crop of quarterbacks that's incoming in the 2025 draft, are they good enough? Because I'm seeing quite a bit, Cam Ward, maybe, obviously Shador's in there, but I don't know. Something feels off.
I like these guys better than the guys that came out this year.
Interesting.
I like Shador. I do like Shador as a player. I just think there's things that he does that is questionable, like the attention, obviously, with his father, and if he's going to pull Eli Manning. But it sounds like he's very interested in going to the Raiders. And I would even consider, if you did draft Shador, then maybe you want to bring Pat Shurmur along, former head coach in this league, to be the OC of the Raiders, since he's the OC of Colorado right now. I like Cam Ward a lot. I go back and forth on Carson Beck. There's a lot of names. Quinn Ewers, I watch him every week with Texas. There's weeks where he's great, and there's weeks where he's crappy. So there are options. But I think the Raiders really need to have the first overall pick this time around. They really need to reset things. They don't need to blow up the entire roster, but they need to evaluate who's worth a damn on this team. And there'll be a day when you and I could probably go through the whole team and say, is this guy worth even keeping anymore?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they need the best quarterback available in this whole thing, whether they consider that to be Cam Ward or Shador Sanders. I think those are the two guys that people are saying right now, but they need to have that opportunity. So if trading Max Crosby gets you that, great, but I don't think that's happening. So I think they're fine just writing it out. They're content with probably being a bad football team the rest of the way. I probably see 4 wins. So maybe that gets you first overall. Maybe it doesn't. But yeah, there's things, the defense flashes every now and then, but I don't even know if they're that great. Yeah, the reality is just they were banking on Gardner Minshew, and He has not been the fun, lovable guy this season. He's been terrible. Aiden O'Connell, I never thought he was going to be amazing. So yeah, it just sucks right now.
It's
what,
the
what,
it's the run game ultimately to me.
Yeah.
That's also a huge part of it. Like
oh,
they had
100%.
zero chance to establish the run, get him going and play action. Like they just blitzed Minshew all game. And you know, it reminded me a lot of the 49ers and the way they talked about Purdy and that whole thing where Purdy does an audible on blitzes. And that was a big talking point after they played the Chiefs. Well, I don't think Gardner Minshew audibles out of blitzes either. And I think he does exactly what Brock Purdy does when he's blitzed, which is throw the hot route, throw the quickest route that you can get, just get the ball out quickly. And I think you saw that a lot against the Chiefs. And that's not where Gardner Minshew thrives. Funnily enough, going back to his days in Washington State when he was a Pac-12 Player of the Year, he's much better when, you know, the offense is kind of more going downfield and kind of moving up tempo, not this, you know, side to side stuff where they're just trying to matriculate the ball down the field, boys. That don't work for Minshew.
Come on, rats. I think right now Justin Fields would be a better option than Gardner Minshew right now.
Really?
I do, yeah.
You haven't given up on Justin Fields, huh?
Something's happening in this game where we're behind, but I'm hearing people scream from the athletic club.
Oh shit, really?
Something's about to happen. I'll let you know. Have I given up on Gardner Minshew? Yeah, I have. You're muted again.
I was talking about Justin Fields.
Oh, you know what? I wondered about the decision to bench him for Russell Wilson. I thought it was weird timing. I thought maybe Justin Fields could lose a few more games before they do that. And I didn't think it was going to be sustainable. I thought that eventually they'd have to go to Russell Wilson. But after his performance against the Jets and the Giants, yeah, he's an upgrade. But you don't want to trade for Justin Fields right now. That makes no sense. You're in a better position to draft a quarterback next year. So, yeah, no trading for Justin Fields. Before we move on to the Niners, what are your thoughts on Tom Brady officially coming over as an owner?
Well, he can't do his job as a broadcaster. Like, do one or the other, Tom. What do you got to do both for? Look, man, if he's a part owner and he actually can look from the beginning, and I kind of say that I don't like saying this like during every week because it would get redundant and I would sound like a broken record, but at the end of the day, I don't think this team is going to be successful under Mark Davis, and I don't know who he listens to. I don't know who he talks to, but each and every decision that he has made as an owner has been the wrong decision.
Yeah.
His WNBA team has had more success than the Raiders, and he's had the Raiders for however long while the Aces were an expansion franchise. Like, it doesn't work. And guaranteed he didn't make any moves in the WNBA. Guaranteed he just, signed the checks and just paid for the team and acted as the owner, but didn't make any decisions. With football, I think he is making these decisions. And if Tom Brady can be maybe the angel and the devil on his shoulder, maybe telling him to take some chances, take some risks, but also to be smart, then I'm all for it. I have to wait and see, because why can't the greatest of all time maybe sway some players or some coaches into joining the silver and black? Why can't that happen?
I think it will, and I think that, to your point, Stephen, if he can't do both, I don't think he will. I think that, I don't know when he's going to give up the TV thing, but I think it's going to happen in the next couple of years here. Because I don't think that he's amazing on TV. I think he's okay, but his every now and then burst of excitement, the oh is annoying. I don't think it gives any.
Doesn't feel natural, does it?
It doesn't feel natural. It feels like it's forced. It feels like he's trying to be Tony Romo, and it to me it feels like he doesn't add anything to the game. I don't think that I learn anything from him. I think he just says the basic shit you see on the screen. Where Troy Aikman and Greg Olson, they're really good, they're comfortable, and maybe just Tom needs time to actually learn how to do this thing. But I think he's too competitive. Let's be real. The week that he was introduced as a Raiders owner, he was spending more time in the Raider facility than he was with the Chiefs and 49ers when he was calling that game. So To me, it always feels like he's really unprepared. I think he would be more comfortable competing every Sunday on a team. And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised with the way that Mark Davis was describing him of how he's going to have a huge role in the football operations of this team. He should be the Buster Posey of the Raiders. He should be the head of football operations. Now, he should have a GM. Tom Telesco, at the end of the day, should be making the draft picks and the trades. But Tom should be the guy that is the booster, the guy that tries to sway Mike Vrabel to come and be the head coach, or calls a free agent and says, I'm Tom Brady, I'm the greatest of all time. Don't you want to be part of this team and be a part with me? And, telling Shador Sanders, get off fucking social media and get focused on being the quarterback of this team. That's what I think he should do with the organization going forward.
Convince Ben Johnson that this guy Shador is going to be your quarterback. This is why you should be the head coach of the Raiders.
I don't know. I don't know if Ben Johnson wants to be a part of that. And honestly, I don't know if Ben Johnson would be the right fit for a Shador Sanders type of offense.
How's that mean?
Shador's going to play in the shotgun a lot, and Lions do that a lot with Jahmyr Gibbs, but really at their core, they are an I formation. Let's run with a fullback, play action fake. We'll throw every now and then, but we're going to run the football down your throat.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. We got bases loaded with the Dodgers right now?
Bases loaded. Tommy Conley loaded the bases, and now he's just being taken off without even recording an out, and they are going to need a Herculean effort from whoever's coming in right now. I don't know who it is.
Well, if any runs are scored, we will keep you updated on Game 5 of the World Series between the Yankees and Dodgers.
I guess we'll have it more Saturday, but we'll have more of a trade show on Saturday. I was going to ask you a trade thing, but we could save that for the next pod.
Yeah, let's do that, because I definitely got some ideas for trades, and we'll get to some trades that happened this week, and a lot of news, injuries as well that we'll get to. Before we do that, let's talk about the Niners. They get off the schneid. They beat the Dallas Cowboys 30-24, and a lot of people were unhappy with the ending of this game. It was kind of, indicative of, or reminiscent, I should say, of the last, losses where, well, they got beat down by the Chiefs, but they couldn't hold a lead against the Rams. They couldn't hold a lead against the Cardinals, and they almost lost this game, but they kept the lead. And offensively, they struggled out the gate. Missing that fourth down play right over the middle where Brock kind of threw behind Deebo Samuel, but it was there. He had his hands on it. And then in the third quarter, they exploded. They scored 2 touchdowns, and I thought Kyle Shanahan, as much blame as he's getting a lot lately, you gotta give him praise for the way he called that game in the third quarter. He went right at Eric Kendricks, the linebacker that spurred the Niners, signed with them originally, then left for the Cowboys. Deebo Samuel out of the backfield went right at him. I thought that he was getting creative in the red zone. He didn't score, but a fullback dive with Juszczyk, a quarterback keeper with Brock Purdy, using the weapons that he had. Deebo Samuel left in that game in the fourth quarter with a rib and oblique injury, and he had the likes of Ricky Pearsall and Isaac Guerrero and Jacob Cowing, not having his top 3 guys out there. So I thought Kyle Shanahan called a great game. Defensively, they had breakdowns. CeeDee Lamb scoring 2 touchdowns where he was wide the fuck open. But,
yeah,
I mean, Dak Prescott, good Lord, he has some piss poor efforts against the Niners. Good God, man. He throws way too many interceptions against them. And we can do this another day, but just watching that game, I thought to myself, if Dak is $60 million a year and he cannot, it's not based on head-to-head record, but he never beats Brock Purdy. Never. Brock Purdy always beats Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. And you all know how I feel about Brock Purdy. I think he's good. I don't know if he's great, but this year he's really impressed me with his mobility and everything, and not playing with the best talent. So this has been the season where he's been the most tested. But yes, you best believe he deserves to make more money than Dak Prescott.
God, all right. There's a lot to unpack there.
I know, I went on a rant there.
I'll start with Brock Purdy, though. To be honest, I think he has regressed this season. I think the numbers show it. I mean, the expected play or expected points added per drop back. Like he's still up there in the top 5. So efficiency is still there, but I'm just not seeing the same zing on the football that I've seen before. I know his arm strength isn't really, he's not known for his arm strength, but
what about the zang?
there's a little bit of zang.
Okay.
No zing though. There's some zang. If we're talking zang,
that could be another sponsor on the podcast since I love Bloody Marys.
Zang. The zang being some of these just floaters that he accurately just puts into place where only the receiver can catch it. Yeah, certain plays there. But there's other times where it seems he's been pretty volatile as far as throwing the football. And I think that's why he's using his legs more than anything. It's not just because he has the ability, but I just don't think that he trusts his arm as much. And I don't think there's a lot of receivers that are getting open on the Niners.
Huge screams going on right now. Something's about to happen.
Oh, boy.
And...
oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Some runs are coming in for the Dodgers. Just one.
Just one.
All right. 6-6.
Wow.
Here we go in the top of the 8th.
You got to get a double play, but it's Shohei. Yikes. Although Shohei hasn't looked the same with that shoulder injury. So
no, he hasn't.
He's been fairly ineffective. At least we're getting a competitive game in this one. I thought we were going to a blowout. I was like, God, there's only been one good game, one close game, really, and it's been
fun.
1.
And yeah, it's fun to be John Sterling and Susan Waldron tonight. By the way, I'll get your opinion later about the 2 Jamokes that assaulted Mookie Betts. That's the way that I see it.
But back to the 49ers. Kyle Shanahan did a great job calling plays. Ted Nguyen did had an awesome article like explaining the best coaching decisions and the way that he detailed Kyle Shanahan attacking man personnel. And it's kind of why I go to Brock Purdy regressing in some way, because there was one play, and you mentioned beating Eric Kendricks at the top. There's one play where Deebo Samuel's lined up in the backfield in the shotgun, goes on the wheel route. Obviously, they got Eric Kendricks one-on-one, and it's a big play. But Ted also pointed out that had that throw been leading Deebo more, that could have gone for a touchdown. It was a little behind him. It's just these little things that I'm seeing from Purdy, which just aren't the same as they have been in years past. Still accurate, still makes good decisions, and obviously has been evading pass rushers, but certain things with him throwing the ball. What is this, catcher's interference?
Yeah, bases loaded again.
Good Lord.
Wow. Yankees are pissing down their leg right now.
Isaac Guerrero was a revelation. I'll say that from this game, too.
And I love a good running back that knows when to go down. Now, I don't know if he went down correctly the first time around, but this time against the Cowboys, yeah.
That was funny. Look, man, this rookie class is it's really good for the 49ers, but I kind of feel like they should have beaten up on that Cowboys team a little bit more. I don't know. Maybe I'm holding them too much to a higher standard, but the Cowboys were missing Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence, literally 2 of their edge rushers. And they were also missing Rico Dowdle, their starting running back. And you still kind of let the Cowboys in the game. I thought they should have dominated it personally, but whatever.
Yeah, but you also got to consider how many offensive playmakers the Niners were missing and still put up 30 points.
Right.
Sorry, I'm hearing screaming outside, and Mookie Betts is up to bat, and I'll do a little play-by-play here. Mookie, deep drive to center, and it's going to drive in some runs. Yep. Dodgers are taking the lead, 7-6, with 2 outs.
Dodgers might win the World Series, huh?
Oh, baby. Going to get interesting here. But everything seems to be trending in the right direction for the 49ers as they go into the bye week. They're 4-4, not the start that they anticipated, but it sounds like McCaffrey's going to come back next Monday. If everything goes well, the window will open, the practice window, and he will be probably playing in that game against Tampa Bay. And we'll see when Dre Greenlaw comes back. We'll see about Talanoa Hufanga. There's been some conflicting reports out there that he's done for the year, but his agent's like, no. He's a free agent. He needs to get paid. He's going to go out there with a cast and play at some point. So, and everything is up for grabs in the NFC West right now. No one's running away with it, but I've been very impressed with the Arizona Cardinals. We'll get to them a little later in quick hits.
Do you buy into the notion though that this is a different 4-4 team from years past? Because I mean, if you're looking at history just itself without looking at this season and just where they're at, I mean, it's just like every other year, really. 3-5 in 2021 and made it all the way to the conference championship. 2022, 4-4, traded for McCaffrey, then routed off 12 straight wins or whatever it was on their way to the conference championship. Last year, 3 straight losses going into the bye. You're thinking this team's not as good. And then post bye, they go on a tear, win the division, and go to the Super Bowl. Like this is where the 49ers really get hot. And this is where the steam starts coming out Kyle Shanahan's ears. This is when the Campbell's chunky chili starts pouring out of George Kittle's butt.
Well, that's quite the image.
This is when they start to heat up, man.
No, you're absolutely right, Steven. I would say that it's more in those seasons of 2021 and 2022. I thought they were dominant last year out the gate, 5-0, and then they lost 3 in a row, but that was mainly because of injuries and Purdy getting concussed. They were the best team in football during the regular season, in my opinion, last year. This year, it feels like they'll still be a playoff team. I still anticipate them winning the NFC West, but they are not the best team in the NFC right now. I think there's many other teams in the NFC that are better than them. Yeah. Right now. You never know. They could get hot before the playoffs, and they're playoff tested, and maybe they can just kind of go through the regular season, make the playoffs, win the NFC West, and then get dominant and get healthy and be better. But I would say, they're in a good spot right now. I don't think people need to freak out. The defense has not been as good as in years past, but I think they're going to get healthy. And I think that it needs to be a good running back by committee when McCaffrey comes back, because it can't just be McCaffrey, he's going to be offensive player of the year again. They're going to slowly get him back into the groove of things. So it's going to be Jordan Mason, it's going to be Garendo, and it's going to be him. And it's going to take some time. They got some tough games too, like at Buffalo, at Green Bay. It's going to be tough, but I still think they're the best team in the NFC West.
I think so too. And if you, look no further than the Rams to see what an impact returning from injuries can make. Like the Rams looked like a damn good offense when they played against the Vikings on Thursday.
Dude, there are a lot of bad teams right now that I think get hot just because of injuries or easier schedule. Mm-hmm. I think that this is the time of year where, early on we're like, oh, that team sucks. And then they start rattling off some wins. You're like, oh, this could be a playoff team. Like last year, I think the Rams were 3-6, and then they started winning some games. Same thing with the Packers. Things are going to flip a little bit. Like maybe this Saturday we go through and we're like, who's done and who do we not think is done?
You did mention they'll ease him in, but I do think they're. I'll just maybe I shouldn't even mention it, but I don't really buy 100% into the idea that McCaffrey and Greenlaw will both just return and be the same players that they were last year.
That's fair.
I think that's it. Like I'm just seeing you get Greenlaw back, you get McCaffrey back. Okay, but what versions are you going to get of them? Like you're getting a version that's been rehabbing all off season, and the reason McCaffrey couldn't do it, or the reason McCaffrey went to Germany in the first place, was because you can't do anything to heal tendonitis in your Achilles unless you just rest. So it's like McCaffrey, though he has been rehabbing and trying to get back, he obviously didn't start doing that until a few weeks ago. It's not like he's been doing this year round. And same with Dre Greenlaw. Can you play with that same reckless abandon, even though you playing on a repaired, what is it? It wasn't an Achilles or an ACL for him?
It was Achilles.
You're playing on that? I don't know. I don't buy into that we're going to get the same McCaffrey and Greenlaw right away. We might towards the end of the season, but I think you're right that it will take some time.
I'm with you there. And Aram, our guy, I said that there's a lot of 2-win teams that could turn things around. Aram, you guys got it right. Raiders are turning it around and going to the Super Bowl. Not quite.
Hell yeah.
By the way, I'm hearing screaming from both. If I think it's the World Series, I'm wrong sometimes because it could be the Warrior game. Buddy Hield just made a 3-point shot to end the half. So the Warriors are up 48-44 in that game. So we'll keep you a booby on everything. Before we go to quick hits, I'm regretting bringing this up. Do you want to get into Nick Bosa's hat?
Sure.
All right, your thoughts.
Well, excuse me, I'm eating like my dinner as we're doing this.
What you snirking on?
Safeway pizza,
Oh God.
delicious.
You know, sometimes it's all you got.
Look, man, I came back from Italy and I'm like, I got to get some of the good stuff. Um, the Nick Bosa hat thing, I think saying that he crashed the interview is a little, I don't know, hyperbolic.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he crashed it. He definitely disrupted it or interrupted it, but I don't want to say he crashed the interview. I think that was a little strong. All he did was point at his hat. Look, I do kind of, I am on the side that, look, you got to explain something, man. You can't just tell the media, yeah, I don't really feel like getting into it, but it's an important time. Well, you're asking for it though. And, you know, people keep on bringing up these past moments during interviews when athletes support or express their support for a certain presidential candidate. Why didn't we come down on them? Because they actually explained why they were wearing what they were wearing or why they were supporting who they were supporting. And also, Trump's a very divisive guy, like very divisive. And
Yeah.
I know, you know, the whole notion that, and I think Bosa even said this, you know, previously before he joined the Niners, because he, you know, had to answer for all these little Trump controversial social media posts or whatever. You know, he cites the way Trump handles the economy. Well, that to me is just how wealthy people think. Like,
Yeah.
we're very rich, and whenever I hear I'm supporting him because of the way he handles the economy, I don't think anyone really cares about the economy for the American people. I think they care about their own personal economy because it's going to save them a little bit with taxes. So that's what I'm gathering from that. I mean, I guess he doesn't really need to say anything. He got his point across, but I didn't like the way that he handled the press conference.
Yeah, I did not even realize that his hat said that. My little brother texted me and said, "Did you see what it said on his hat?" And I mean, we all know who Nick Bosa is at this point, so it really didn't bother me. Like, yeah, that's who he is, and he's gonna, you know, to go out of his way though to get in the shot, I thought was a little bit much. Like if somebody else, you know, if a different player was wearing a
Ooh.
Harris, what's going on?
Aaron Judge, double to the left field corner.
This game's getting spicy.
Judgment time.
But yeah, if like let's say like a different player had a different political viewpoint and was wearing a Harris hat and wasn't being interviewed, but just showed up randomly in the background, I thought that would be annoying. And I'm glad that he didn't speak on it because yeah, he's, you know, it was cowardly to, you know, wear the hat and then like, you know, not want to talk about it in the post game. But I don't need Nick Bosa all of a sudden being a champion for the right. Like he's been soft spoken and not brought up any of that stuff for most of his career. And then if it came out of left field all of a sudden, or I should say right field, of him now being the guy that's going to be the outspoken Republican, you know, sports athlete, then that would be out of character for him. Look, this is going to be a weird time. I think he did this because obviously he wants Trump to win, and we're going to have this election on Tuesday, and they're on the bye, so he's not going to have a chance to say anything else. So I think that people need to expect that their athletes are not going to have the same viewpoints as them. But yeah, I mean, whatever fines come his way, that's totally appropriate because it's different than if people are like, oh, well, they let Kaepernick kneel. He wasn't doing it like on the field, or I mean, it was on the sideline, but it wasn't like I just think it's stupid to compare the two. I think that I guess whatever the rule is in the NFL is if you display something with a political agenda
Yeah.
while you're on TV or whatever, then you get fined. So yeah, he's subject to fine, but at the end of the day, he's entitled to do what he wants. It's just it's annoying. I think it's annoying on all fronts when people are, whatever you feel. But I just think it's funny that Nick Bosa, he's never done that before and now he's doing it. So whatever.
It's a choice.
Yeah,
It's
but it feels more like a troll thing. It's not necessarily like, oh, I'm doing this because I believe in America. It's like a trolling thing to me. That's the
Right.
way that I view it. And
Yeah.
you know what? Like, it's a dicey game when you want to be affiliated with somebody. That's why I think Tom Brady, there was rumors about him having a MAGA hat in the back, and now, he decided not go to the White House. He decided not to endorse him. When you endorse a politician, that's a dicey game. Like we're seeing now, like I don't think comedians should ever endorse politicians. So what's his name, Hinchcliffe, or whatever the hell his name is?
Yeah, Tony Hinchcliffe.
Yeah, that's a dicey game, my friend. If you want to be the comedian that can talk about everything, when you align yourself with a politician, that's dicey.
Yeah, and mean, I came on here recommending you watch Kill Tony.
Hey, it's fine. I mean, I've seen his stuff and I think it's funny.
I
Very,
don't like the way that his show's been painted after that. I know everything that he said was terrible. It was stupid. Mark Norman had the tweet of the day when he said, ironically, Tony Hinchcliffe needs a PR person more than anyone else in the world right now, which is amazing.
But God. By the way, I saw him with Rick Tittle in Oakland. Mark Norman's fucking incredible.
Oh, he's awesome. But I've never really watched Tony Hinchcliffe's stand-up. I've only seen his stuff doing roasts and all that. But that's what they were getting. I just love how Trump is acting as if he doesn't know who Tony Hinchcliffe is. It's like they're all in this little bubble within like UFC, wrestling. Tony Hinchcliffe used to write for wrestling. He used to write WWE scripts back in the day. Like, they're all kind of in this bubble. And you know what? To be honest, even Nick Bosa is a part of that bubble. Like, there's all those football players who go to UFC events. Like, look at Max Crosby. He calls Trump the GOAT. He doesn't wear a Make America Great Again hat on. Maybe he would if the Raiders ever played on national TV, which we probably aren't going to get a chance to do that anytime soon. But
not Monday Night Football against the Falcons. That'll be rough.
Ooh, but Tony Hinchcliffe, though, I like Kill Tony. I like the show that he has. I think it's pretty organic, and it's more than I think people are painting it out to be, which is he just brings on a bunch of bum comedians so that he can make fun of them. I'd say there's probably 60 to 70%, and Tony's changed it a little bit. You could tell his ego's gotten in the way as more episodes have gone on, but there's also been a lot of stand-up comedians that he's helped and really kind of acted, that show kind of acted as a springboard for their stand-up careers.
Right.
So he has done good things for comedy. It's just, man, he really hit a new low with that thing at the
rally. It's a dangerous game, man. That's why, I'm not saying people need to be impartial, but if you're going to be the comedian that gets to say whatever he wants, it's hard to align yourself with someone politically. I just think that goes against the whole thing, but whatever.
It's also funny that there's one who was at that rally saying that everyone loved it. And there was another at that rally who said, yeah, that Puerto Rico joke kind of fell on deaf ears.
Yeah, I figured.
Oh,
okay. I'm hearing massive amounts of screaming. So something is, and what I'm referring to is the Athletic Club, which I live right next to. So it's a bar full of Yankee and Dodger fans right now. So we will keep you abreast of what's going on in this game.
Side note, you reminded me, dude, people in Italy, like it's in Rome on a Friday and Saturday night.
Whoo. Bad strikeout by Rizzo right there.
Yeah. Well, that's a game changer. In Italy, Yeah, they're out till like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty nuts, dude.
They're having a great time.
Yeah, because they don't eat dinner until like 8:30, 9 o'clock. So like places are open a lot later there. It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, they're when you live in paradise, you should always party.
Hmm.
Let's get to some quick hits. Before we get to the games, I want to talk about the news that happened this week in the NFL. Deontay Johnson traded to the Ravens for a pick swap. Panthers get a 5th-round pick. Ravens get a 6th-round pick. And I was surprised that Deontay Johnson went there. There are, teams that needed a wide receiver badly. Stephon Diggs tore his ACL. He's out for the season, so maybe the Texans could have used him. But they got some good depth. Buccaneers, but I don't know if the Panthers are willing to trade him to the Bucs in their own division. So he goes to the Ravens. The thing is, I like it because that's pretty good wide receiver depth and a good trio of Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, and him. But Zay Flowers and Deontay Johnson are very similar wide receivers, kind of slot guys. But maybe, they're trying to run like kind of the Dolphins offense where it doesn't matter if they're slot guys. They just need speedy wide receivers, kind of like with the Chiefs and Xavier Worthy eventually when they get Marquise Hollywood Brown. But, I think that's a pretty good move for the Ravens because, God, so many drop balls in that game against the Browns.
Lamar needs another weapon. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is with Zay Flowers. He's really, really good, but like he's not like a standalone number one receiver. You almost need like a 1A and a 1B. And it feels like Deontay Johnson's that perfect addition as a 1B. And I think he also can run from inside the slot quite a bit. I mean, those guys are always really valuable. So I think it's a terrific move for the Ravens, and Lamar's been playing out of his mind as of late.
Yeah, dude, I think he's having a better MVP campaign right now than opposed to last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another trade, Cam Robinson goes to the Cam Robinson from the Jaguars goes to the Minnesota Vikings, and that's a big, big help because I thought the loss of Christian Darrisaw for the season is huge for them. So getting him as their blindside protector won't be as good as Christian Darrisaw, but pretty good pickup for the Vikings there. I mentioned Stephon Diggs out for the season. That's huge for the Texans. And what really sucks about that is, if you remember, when he got traded to the Texans, he agreed with Nick Caserio to void the last 3 years of his contract. So he could have been under contract with the Texans. Instead, he decided to become a free agent, and now he's going to lose a lot of money this offseason. That's rough.
Yeah, it's brutal. Also brutal for Jesse's fantasy team.
That's tough.
Yeah.
And then Anthony Richardson got benched for Joe Flacco. I think that's an upgrade. I think Joe Flacco is having a hell of a resurgence this late in his career. And when Anthony Richardson in that Texans game taps himself on the head saying, "I need a breather," and he was just tired, man. And
don't admit that.
No, don't say that, dude. Don't do that. Like it's Jamarcus Russell territory. Like, are you not conditioning well? Like, why are you tired? Mm-hmm. And also, it's a 3rd and long. Thank God that I don't know if Shane Steichen took it easy on them, but they handed the ball off to Jonathan Taylor. So are you really expecting Joe Flacco's already nipping on your heels already? So don't give him an excuse to take your job. Can you imagine if he's like, "Okay, take me out, coach," and Joe Flacco comes in and he throws a touchdown pass on 3rd and long? Why would they put you back in the game?
It's a perfect example of a player being too honest.
Way too honest. We are in the top of the 9th. Dodgers on first base. Yikes. We will see if this actually happens. I want to see this go to a game 6, but damn, I'm surprised the Yankees just cough this one up if it happens. Let's get to some of the games. Eagles beat down the Bengals 37-17. Eagles look like their 2022's version of themselves again. They're playing really good defensively. They're getting to the quarterback again. They're playing good defense. Saquon's running very well. And Jalen Hurts, I don't think, has thrown an interception in quite some time here. So they look really good. They always make additions. I don't know if they will this year because I guess Vic Fangio was asked if they want to make another trade. And he was like, nope. Trades at the trade deadline never pan out. So I don't know if they're going to make a move for the Eagles on defense, maybe on offense. As far as the Bengals, they were just missing T. Higgins, in my opinion. They probably would have still lost this game because I just don't think the Bengals defense is that very good this season. But They were turning the ship around. They started 1-4, and they got two straight losses or two straight wins to go to 3-4. So they could have got to 500. They lose this game, but I still think the Bengals could be a playoff team.
In the same tone as Happy Gilmore when he learned how to putt, speaking of the Eagles, Kellen Moore learned how to use Barkley and Hurts. Uh-oh. League needs to watch out. They looked good against the Bengals. And Jalen Hurts is a step slower, but it seems that Kellen Moore kind of adjusted to that. And Barkley, I mean, if they can get him 20 carries a game, he's barely been getting that this year. He's been getting anywhere from 16 to 19, but not 22 like he had in this last one. Yeah, man, if they keep performing the way that they are, they're going to be scary regardless of what their defense looks like. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do at the deadline. And with the Bengals, it's I don't know if they're going to be a Super Bowl team this year like I predicted. Probably not. Maybe they are a playoff team, but it also feels like this was just a very unfortunate year as far as timing in paying their wide receiver and also letting Joe Mixon go. I don't know if Chase Brown is going to be the answer, but they haven't had much of a run game all year. While Joe Mixon, it's not like he's been sensational for the Texans, but he's been a pretty good starting running back. They could have used him, and they only signed him to a 3-year, $27 million deal. I think Jamar Chase's contract had something to do with that. So maybe give it till next year for the Bengals because it just does not feel like the timing's right for them this year.
Well, speaking of Joe Mixon and the Texans, they have a really good win against the Colts to sweep that team, and they look like they're in the driver's seat for that AFC South.
They are.
But Joe Mixon, I mean, when he is healthy, Steven, I think he is doing a fantastic job. Him, Saquon, Derrick Henry, all these running backs that these teams didn't want. I sound like Gruden right now in the Nicey videos. See all these running backs, man, that these teams didn't want. I love when a running back shreds a good defense. It's got me feeling nicey. The best one was last week or 2 weeks ago when he was like, Sean Tucker of the Buccaneers. Who is this guy? Rick Fair would have loved this guy. Woo!
Oh, Gruden.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Got me feeling real nicey. Even
he's losing his mind.
Even though the song says icy.
Okay.
It's got me feeling icy.
No, it doesn't, Steven. I checked it. It does say Nicey. The name of the song is Nicey.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
I know. I was like thinking I was cool talking to the young kids and being like, yeah, I'm pretty sure the song is called Icy. And they're like, no, it's not.
Oh, my God.
I know.
Got me feeling nicey.
Yeah.
Is that a whole TikTok thing or did Gruden create that?
I have no idea. All I know is I'm thoroughly entertained every time he does that.
I hate it. I hate that I'm entertained so much by it. I got this one video saved up. I will post it to X as soon as he comes back. But if Andy Dalton has a good performance for the Panthers, I got just a little quick screen record of Gruden going, Andy Dalton. I'm waiting to play that one.
Yeah, his face when he does those things. Good Lord.
It's nuts.
Just in a dark room by himself, the glare of his iPad, just
wedding. It's so scary.
Yeah, it's disturbing. But yeah, Texans with a big win, coming off that loss to the Packers. So yeah, they look like they should win the AFC South, and I think the Colts will. I think the Colts would have won that game if Joe Flacco was starting. There was that return touchdown. That the Colts defender was obviously touchdown. It wasn't a touchdown, but man, Anthony Richardson can't move the ball very well, and his completion percentage is terrible.
Yep.
Yeah, he's, as you put earlier, just a good boomer bust player. He could throw a 50-yard bomb like that to Allen Pierce, and then he could miss, the tight end right over the middle. That's, wide open.
Yeah.
The Lions are the best team in the NFC. That's clear to me. They are probably going to make a trade to replace Aiden Hutchinson. Would not be the least bit surprised before the deadline if they acquire Zadarius Smith. That sounds like the guy that they're after. But man, to put up 52 points and throw under 100 yards, Jared Goff finished the game with 85 passing yards. and because he was sacked a big total, I think they only netted like 60 yards passing the entire game.
Jesus.
And the way they're able to run the football, I mean, they beat up on a bad team, the Titans. Very conscious of that now, Steven.
Nice.
But yeah, Jared Goff, regardless, throws 3 touchdown passes, a 4th from David Montgomery. I think that you can make the argument that they are the best team in the NFC, and their wins look more impressive than the Chiefs right now.
I agree. Their offense is humming. They do need to make a deadline acquisition, though. That's really what I have written in my notes. Like this team is probably going to have their Super Bowl window, quote unquote, open for a while, for the next couple of years at least. But God, this year it feels like it's a really good chance for them to take it in the NFC. They better make an acquisition to replace Hutchinson. Though if they do trade for a wide receiver, I think that tells us a lot about what's going on with Jameson Williams and whether he, stays out for an extended period of time because of this concealed weapons charge that he's got going on right now.
Well, he was only suspended 2 games for, what was it? What was suspension for? It was gambling last year, and then this year, he took performance enhancers. And then there's a video of him. I don't know if it's him actually talking to the cop, but I guess he's in the passenger seat, and they have guns in the back. Now, if he has a registration for that gun, then, I believe no harm, no foul. I don't know all the gun laws. I can't say. But also, the way he's talking in the video, this made me think of Ricky Pearsall a little bit. The cop does say to him, what do you got this gun for? And he goes, you know where I live? You know, in Detroit? Like, I'm trying to protect myself. And I get that, man. Like, after thinking about Ricky Pearsall now, I don't want anybody to have a gun and use it on somebody. That's terrible. But if, you're subject to being attacked, then I totally get having it for safety.
I guess so.
No, I mean, I go back and forth with gun stuff. Like, it's tough. There's a lot of horrible mass shootings these days. So sometimes I even wonder if we should have guns. But then you see something like Ricky Pearsall, and you're like, man, guy needs to protect himself, and maybe more security. I don't know. But we'll see what happens with Jameson Williams. Yeah. Man, I'm not ready to say the Jets are done, but damn, is it close to that. God, are they a disappointing team. I mean, I'm not like I'm not going to be like all the Raider fans out there that's like, yeah, they suck. Devontae went from a 2-6 team to another 2-6 team. Can you be mad at Devontae wanting to leave? I totally get it. I totally understand why he wanted to go. But it's not a better situation, and I agree with you in the video when you sent it from Tuscany. You gotta question Devontae Adams' decision-making because he left Aaron Rodgers to go play with Derek Carr, and now he wanted to leave the Raiders to go play with Aaron Rodgers again. And, man, Aaron Rodgers does not look like the same player anymore. Like, I know they put up 22 points. They should have won this game, but the defense is not the same. I mean, good win for the Patriots. Give kudos to them. They won that game despite Drake May leaving the game with a concussion. But goddamn, are the Jets, and they gotta win tomorrow. They're playing the Texans on a short week. Stephon Diggs is out. They gotta win. But everyone's
confused. They're the most confused football team, the most confused offense in the NFL.
Yeah, they always are. And I for how much hype they had, goddamn, are they disappointing.
They used 3 timeouts in the first quarter of this last game.
I saw that,
because they couldn't get the alignment right. Like, you got Aaron Rodgers pointing to Mike Williams, telling him where to line up. The run game is not as dynamic as we thought it was, but ultimately it starts with Aaron Rodgers, and he can't move the same. Obviously, he's throwing more interceptions. He's not as accurate, but a lot of it comes down to the last second play calling, and it's not working. It's not working for the Jets. And with Adams, I got no beef with that, but yeah, Adams, you realize you're going to, you just thought you'd have automatic success with a guy like Rodgers. And he's only got however many years left on his deal, just a couple of more until 2025, and then he's done.
They may have to move on from him after this season. And unless they turn things around, like I'll say this. Next podcast we do on Saturday, if the Jets do not beat the Texans, I'll put a fork in them. If they get to 2-7, I don't see how they get back from that. That's too much of a hill to climb.
Yeah, that would
that's
mark
brutal.
that would mark 6 losses in a row. I don't know. Yeah.
But yeah, no. I think if they don't start turning things around, they have to probably cut Aaron Rodgers. They probably don't keep Devontae Adams. And man, you and I could have told the Jets. I don't know if going from Nathaniel Hackett to Todd Downing is a big upgrade. Yeah. The Packers survived without Jordan Love. He suffered a groin injury in the third quarter of that game against the Jaguars, but they win that game. Josh Jacobs carried the load there, and it's very impressive what Matt LaFleur is able to do with Malik Willis, get the best out of him and use him in a kind of pull option read game and get him passing better. We'll see if he's healthy for this week. Jaguars are, I mean, they were going to trade Christian Kirk at the deadline, and now he broke his collarbone, so that sucks. And they're going to miss Brian Thomas for a couple weeks here, so I think it's inevitable. They're going to probably fire Doug Peterson at the end of the season, and Trevor Lawrence has totally regressed. And I think that the Packers and Matt LaFleur, I mean, he's doing a fantastic coaching job right now.
I think there needs to be a team out there that's interested in trading for Travis Etienne. I think that's an interesting name at running back because Tank Bigsby has really taken over. And the only reason I know that is because I have Travis Etienne on Jesse's fantasy team, and he's been a letdown, and he could be a trade candidate because he's just not getting as much usage. He was meant to be the starter.
Yeah.
And I guess that was my takeaway from the game. Doug Peterson on the hot seat?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. I think he has to be, right?
I think so. I think you were talking about Ben Johnson earlier. If they decide to keep Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby, that's a perfect spot for him because he can have the running game, and then he just needs to develop a Jared Goff-like quarterback with Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, and Brian Thomas is sick, so
yeah,
that's going to be a pretty big loss for them. But I don't see Peterson keeping his job much longer.
No. The guy that we thought was going to lose his job with all the pew 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 explosives. The Arizona Cardinals are winning games, and they're doing impressive shit right now. They beat the Niners on the road. They beat the Chargers, and they went to Miami and beat the Dolphins at Tua's comeback. And I'm glad Tua's back. I guess he's getting feisty with the media, Steven.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's you kind of saw it when he came back from the concussion. I don't think he really appreciated all those people, kind of like you that were, or not kind of like you being the people that were telling him to retire, but he was pissed at those people, kind of like you were.
Thank you.
But Tua, yeah, it's more of a wait till the end sort of clip, but a big turning point in that game was obviously the safety in the end zone.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously it was a 1-point game, so that safety kind of changed everything. And just wait till the end.
Catching the ball in the gun. But I would say I'm a pretty good shortstop guy. I have pretty good vision. I have pretty good hands. I mean, I'd like to see a lot of other people go in the back there and try to catch that ball too. You've seen it wasn't Brew's best, and Brew knows he can get it better, but it wasn't my best as well. But I'm just saying, to give perspective, it's not as easy as what it looked like sitting down on your couch eating chips.
I mean, that's fair. That's
Sure.
fair. But also, you can't be that sensitive.
Sure. But deflecting it and putting it on regular people who don't get paid hundreds of millions of dollars to play professional football, that's when you're at a new level of salty.
I would say, especially with the chips. But when you're getting paid $53 million a year, yeah, you need to catch that ball, Tua.
You do. I mean, it's just when you're just saying, none of you could do it, so why are you getting mad at me and making fun of me for it? Well, because you get paid a lot of money to do it.
Yeah, but you're a quarterback of a team, man. You're going to be questioned. And look, I give a lot of praise to Tua for coming back. And he could have, whatever his family thought, whatever, all of the media thought about him, we are 2 outs away from the Dodgers winning the World Series.
Jeez.
I give him a lot of praise for wanting to come back and play because, obviously it's scary. I understand why people were questioning if he should play football again, but it's his life. And so I'm glad he decided to do this. I think the Dolphins look 10 times better offensively. And the Arizona Cardinals just look like a better team right now. So Mike McDaniel on the hot seat?
Could be.
I wouldn't do that because I still think you have to look at, I guess, I mean, he brought them to the playoffs and they always, just limp into the playoffs and lose. But a lot of injuries this year. I think that this is it for him this offseason. They need to make a move to get a good backup quarterback, and they need to make some noise and go deep into the playoffs. If not, then maybe they make a change.
Yeah, I mean, time is running out for him for sure. I think it has to be one more year for McDaniel. I think it'd be really quick to pull the trigger if it's after this year.
And can we give praise to Kyler Murray? He had a great performance, over 300 yards passing. The weekend, the Call of Duty comes out.
Yeah, he already beat it seems like.
All right, we will let you know if this happens with the Dodgers. They are 2 outs away. Walker Buehler on the mound right now as the closer.
Yeah.
The Falcons look like the best team in the NFC South right now. Bucks are banged up. They lost Chris Godwin for the season. Cousins, complete opposite of Aaron Rodgers. He's getting blocking, and he doesn't need to move around a lot, but he's just slinging that thing right now. Every time I see like the stat sheet of him, it looks like he's throwing 4 touchdown passes. I think the Buccaneers, it's going to be tough defensively. They're so banged up. So I don't know if they can recover in this division, but Falcons already swept them. So, yeah, I see the Falcons winning the NFC South.
Yeah, I could see that too. And I was wrong about Kirk O'Chains. He's been awesome this year. Bijan's been pretty good too. Yeah, the Falcons have some new life with Raheem Morris. And shout out to Jesse Bates for getting those 2 turnovers. So you had the fumble recovery and the interception in that one.
And, the Ravens lose to the Browns. Called that one. They would have won that game had Kyle Hamilton caught an interception or one of their wide receivers ended up with the football. Really bad drop by Rashad Bateman in that game.
Yeah.
But they put up the offense in that game, 24 points. It's the defense. The Ravens are very susceptible through the air. They're not very good as a pass defense. And his, pregame speeches and postgame speeches are something else. But the Browns are a better football team with Jameis Winston, and I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if you look at their schedule if they start winning some games here. All right, where are we at? 2 outs?
Fall into the trap, Derek.
I don't know, man. Jameis is playing better football.
I agree that he's better than Deshaun Watson, but you could put Skylar Thompson on that team, and I think he'd be better than Deshaun. I love Jameis. I do, okay? But he does this every year. He has his first start where you say Jameis is back. Get a few on social media who are out there saying that Jameis should have a starting job. And unless I got some stats here for you if you want me to.
Well, hang on. We are 1 strike away from this thing happening.
Oh my God. There it is.
And it's official. Giants fans, I don't know what else you could say. The Dodgers have won the World Series. The Yankees blew a 5-0 lead in this game, and the Dodgers come back and win this.
Wow.
And Greg Papa, who bought tickets to games 6 and 7, is shit out of luck.
Jeez.
I'm sorry, guys. Look, Giants fans.
Are you going to tell Giants fans how to act right now?
Yes.
Why?
Because this act has been old for quite some time.
You've never had a rival in baseball. You're an A's fan. You don't get it.
Yeah, I didn't like it when the Rangers won last year.
The Angels, the Rangers, the Yankees. You've never had the Red Sox.
Oh yeah, no.
The A's have never had a rival before. You don't get it.
I hear you.
I was told by you and Evan that Giants fans are being petty. Well, here's what you two have in common.
They always have been petty.
You're A's fans. You've never had a rival.
That's fair. But also, it's one thing, like in 2021, where they lost the Dodgers. Okay, you could be pissed. But the team didn't do anything this year. So,
yeah.
And you know what? I'll be completely honest. Giants fans annoy me. So, that's why.
Right.
But, all of the shit talk of, this team didn't win the World Series, when it was a full, 162 season. They won it when it was a 60-game season. Yeah, that was valid. I do not give a lot of credit to the Lakers or the Dodgers for their championships during the bubbles, but I don't think Giants fans have a lot to say right now. So,
You hated watching the Lakers win.
oh yeah, I know I hated it. I absolutely hated it.
Yeah,
But it's not real. It's a bubble thing. So, whatever.
there you go.
But now, yeah, I mean, I would say this is good for Giants fans because this gives you fuel for the offseason. And Buster, get your ass together, man. Or your act together. But come on, get your ass moving.
Get
Start a
your ass
GM
together.
already. Yeah, get your ass together. Go get a GM. What are you waiting on?
I've had this weird thing with this specific Dodgers because none of them are like homegrown. Like I used to hate the Dodgers
Yeah, man, but
that were homegrown.
Yeah,
I
but
used to really dislike or not even homegrown, the ones who had just been with them for a while. I used to really dislike the Andre Ethiers, the Jonathan Broxtons, the Matt Kemps, I don't think he even started with the Dodgers, but I hated the James Loneys, the Russell Martins, who's the big starting pitcher that they had, Chad Hennessy or whatever his name was, or Billingsley. I used to hate those guys, but like Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, two of the nicest guys in baseball, bought and paid for. Dodgers struck while it was hot. Obviously, Shohei Ohtani. Can care less though for guys like Will Smith or Kike or even Walker Buehler. Those are the homegrown Dodgers where I'm like, whatever. Hey, look, Clayton Kershaw with a World Series shirt and he didn't even do anything.
Yeah, no. So is he done now?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him in the future.
I'm being a real troll right now in our KMBR DMs right now. I thought
Well,
about
you know what though? Like you don't have a heart though if you aren't at least a little happy for Freddie Freeman and just like all the shit that he's been through. Like,
and I
like,
think it's pretty clear he's MVP of the series.
Yeah, he is for sure. But God, man, the Yankees blew it. I mean, I know that's going to be a big thing, but they blew it. They committed 3 errors in the 5th inning. I mean, they completely blew this game, and the Dodgers took advantage of it. It's crazy.
How much of a troll would I be right now if I tweeted out on behalf of KMBR? I want to congratulate, or on behalf of everybody at KMBR, I want to congratulate the LA Dodgers on winning the World Series.
I think you should do it.
I thought about it.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because I don't give a fuck.
Oh man.
Yeah, I actually might do that. But yeah, Shohei Ohtani, first season with the Dodgers, gets the ring.
God, he's got 10 more of them, and he's going to be paid $68 million or whatever it is until he's 44. It's the greatest deal in all of sports.
Oh yeah, God, I forgot about that. They barely paid him this season.
They're paying him $2 million until the end of his contract, and then $2 million each year until the end of his contract, then $68 million for the next 10 years after that.
Well, good news, Bay Area fans. The Warriors are winning 79-66 right now in the 4th quarter. So, a really low scoring game, but they're winning, so that's good. All right, to finish up with football here. Yeah, I hear you, Steven, not to get sucked in with Jameis Winston, but I think Stefanski is a good coach, and I just think he needs competent quarterback play. So I think Jameis Winston could be that guy.
Didn't he just give up the play calling, or was that another coach?
He did. Ken Dorsey's the play caller now. I thought that was a little overreaction.
Let me give you the stats for Winston. Okay?
Go for it.
I love Winston. I love him. He's doing the thing with the pre and post game speeches, the locker room stuff. But
I knew this white boy in Detroit named Eminem. Could have just said Eminem. We know who he is.
But the fact is, he doesn't have 2 good games in a row ever. He never gets 2 consecutive truly good games. 2021, he opened the season. He threw 5 touchdowns for the Saints, and they beat Green Bay in week 1. Then the next week he was picked off twice, and then they lost to a 5-win Panthers team. That was week 1. And then he eventually got hurt that year. Then 2022, week 1, he beat the Falcons, 2 touchdowns to no interceptions. Then the next week, he was picked off 3 times in a loss to the Bucks. And then he didn't last that long because of injuries again. And 2023, they didn't even win a game when he started at quarterback. And next week, he's playing against the Chargers. And, they might not look like the greatest defense on paper, but they have given up a league low 9 touchdowns as a whole this year, which is just an insane number to think about.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, I just think we got to stop getting on the Jameis hype train because we do this every single year. And then we get off of it because Jameis does a Jameis type of throw.
I know. And he came in clutch. I mean, God, it went from Kyle Hamilton to almost intercepting a ball and winning that game to then Jameis Winston throwing a game-winning touchdown pass. So I only say this because they were a playoff team a year ago. They have a good defense, a good running game. They got Nick Chubb back. I just think that Kevin Stefanski, he went to the playoffs with Joe Flacco, and Joe Flacco's having a resurgence. But, he won games with P.J. Walker. I just think Deshaun Watson's just done. And maybe Jameis is that guy. But you're right. It's a lot. But look at their schedule. I wouldn't be surprised if they start evening things out here.
Okay.
All right. They play the Chargers in Cleveland. And speaking of those Chargers, they just beat up on the Saints. The Saints, God, they went from 2-0 to having just a high flying offense to just being unwatchable. The Chargers, 2 touchdowns from Ladd McConkey. They definitely need to get the pass game going a little bit because they're just so reliant on the run game and a very simplistic offense with Harbaugh and Greg Roman of just running the football and throwing the ball every now and then. But me and Alon talked about it. There's some games you're like, damn, Justin Herbert's throwing for like 179. You're wasting him. So it needs to be a good mix, but they got to let him throw the football. And Ladd McConkey's a good receiver. He caught 2 touchdowns. I think they could be in the market for a wide receiver at the deadline, but they probably won't because Harbaugh doesn't do that type of shit. As far as the Saints, they just need Derek Carr. And God, it's a big hole right now, 2-6. With the way that the Falcons are playing right now, I don't think any team in the NFC South is going to be a wild card team. So, yeah, it could be that Dennis Allen gets the axe here.
Bye-bye.
Yep. Broncos, they just beat down the Panthers, embarrassed them. I thought that Sean Payton kind of did run up the score a little bit. The fake field goal, trying to score at the end there. They fumble at the goal line. The Panthers get the ball back and score. Funny enough, Sean Payton, man, he is brutally honest now. He, after the game, was like, yeah, we played a bad offense. That's just this, I'm just gonna be honest about it. And J.C. Horn, whose father, Joe Horn, was coached by Sean Payton, and he called him out after the game on the field saying, you're running the score up on us. And Sean Payton was like, I don't know what the hell he was talking about. So, yeah, Broncos, I don't think they're a playoff team, but they're miles and miles ahead of the Raiders. And
they could be a playoff team, man. They could
be. So?
But these next 3 games are going to be really telling.
Yeah, they go to Baltimore, and then I don't know where they are after that.
They are in Baltimore, then they are in Kansas City, and then they are back home hosting the Falcons. So,
yeah, that's where things might slide for them. But as far as the Panthers, Bryce Young, it's tough. He had one of his better performances. He threw 2 touchdowns and then threw 2 interceptions. I just think they got to play him the rest of the way and see what they have in him. They shouldn't trade him at the deadline. They should just see if he's worth hanging on to after this season and then go get another quarterback.
I have no idea what the Panthers should do.
Yeah, that whole franchise is a shitstorm. The Jaden Daniels Hail Mary was incredible. That game that went from a field goal bonanza before the game, you didn't know if Jaden Daniels was going to play, the whole rib injury, There was a rumor going around that he has a pierced nipple and the nipple ripped off, and that's why he didn't play in the game. And that seemed ridiculous. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, I need to stop reading stupid shit on Twitter. But he played, and it was a field goal game. Caleb Williams looked like week 1 against the Titans, barely completing any passes. But he got the offense going, scored 2 touchdowns. But they were lucky because what the hell was that refrigerator Perry type of play they were doing with the offensive lineman as the fullback, and he fumbles on the 1 yard line?
I don't know. That was so stupid.
It was incredibly stupid. They just were getting too cute there. But they score. They go up 15-12, and then, man, like Anthony Richardson had a rough week. Tyreek Stevenson, this guy, Jesus Christ. He on the Hail Mary, he's talking shit to the Commanders fans, and then the play happens, and he's not in position. Then he gets to the play late, and he misses his man, who was Noah Brown, who got the game-winning touchdown. If Jan Daniels does not play in that game, that play does not happen. This is why Raiders really wanted him, the connection with Antonio Pierce. He's a perfect fit with Cliff Kingsbury. I mean, I don't think this game will decide Offensive Rookie of the Year, but that was a memorable moment for Jaden Daniels to throw that touchdown pass.
Sure. And but I do think that Matt Eberflus gets a little bit of blame because it's not like that play was the last or the only play of that drive where it's like, okay, they go out to their own 35-yard line or whatever it is, and then they could just chuck it down at one play. No, they had a few to work with, and Eberflus just kept on calling this prevent defense, which just kept them going like, little deep play here, chunk play there. Then obviously the big Hail Mary. So just a colossal failure all around from the Bears. And I think, like, I don't know, that's the Commanders are the type of team I think that should give any fan base hope, because it's amazing what happens when you get a new owner. That new owner consults with different executives around the league. You hire a GM and Adam Peters. Adam Peters seems to have hired the right coach, and they made the right pick for Jaden Daniels as their franchise quarterback. And they still actually had a pretty good team on top of that. So it is pretty amazing what a sweeping change can do for a team. I think the Commanders, I really don't think they're going to be an exception. I think that there are teams that can do this. But God, all the cards were dealt. They were dealt kind of like a full house really this offseason, weren't they? I mean, I know they made some of their picks and they made the decisions, but God damn, they took advantage.
No, they made the right moves, and yeah, I didn't know how it was all going to pan out with some of the free agents they'd signed this offseason, kind of like guys you thought that maybe were over the hill, like Austin Eckler or Bobby Wagner, but they're playing great. And Cliff Kingsbury, man, I don't think he's going back to the NFL to be a head coach. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets a college coaching head job, but head coach job, I should say, head job,
head job.
Yeah, they're making all the right moves. We'll see, though. They still got to play the Eagles twice. They still got to play the Cowboys twice. They played a lot of easy opponents. I'm not saying the Bears were easy, but they haven't played the cream of the crop yet. The one, right. They've lost to the Buccaneers and they've lost to the Ravens. So we'll see when they play tougher teams.
Yep.
But yeah, great performance by Jaden Daniels. Between those two guys, it was awesome. Caleb Williams visibly upset after the game because he's from Washington, wanted to win that game, and that's a tough way to lose. And I agree with you, Steven. If Matt Eberflus called a better defense the play before when it's like 3 seconds left and they get a quick pass to get him to the 50-yard line, that Hail Mary doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And then lastly, the Steelers beat down the Giants. The Giants, it's just hard watching Daniel Jones in that offense. If I were them, I would move Darius Slayton and try to get some draft capital. I don't think Daniel Jones is their quarterback next year. John Mara, full endorsement for Brian Daboll and Joe Shane to return next season, which I don't get that at all. I like Brian Daboll, but I don't know about Joe Shane. He rubbed me the wrong way from that HBO show. As far as the Steelers, they're going to be a dangerous team. If they're able to keep this up offensively, I mean, their defense is the best in football. If they're able to score 30 points or close to 30 points, I don't see how anybody stops them.
I agree. And Oh God, my mind just went blank. We were talking about the Bills, right?
No, Steelers. I'll get to the
Steelers.
Bills. I forgot about them.
Steelers are a weird one. I don't know if I trust Russell Wilson. I just don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, but would you say he's looked impressive in the 2 games?
He's looked impressive so far.
Yeah.
I'll give him that. But
I forgot about the Bills. Bills, they're right up there. If they get that offense going, Amari, first game, was a factor. Scored a touchdown last week. Caught 1 ball for 3 yards. But now they have a run game going, and Josh Allen's only thrown 1 interception on the whole season. They went to Seattle, were unfazed, beat down Seattle 31-10. I think Seattle is just going to be kind of, I thought they were going to win 3 games, and right now they're at 4 wins. So we'll see where it goes. But I think they're a middle. I think they're a middling team. As far as the Bills, they could be right up there. Right now, I would say this is the best. This is the most confident I've been in the Bills, as equal parts defensively, and then having the receiving core of Amari Cooper and Keon Coleman and Matt Collins and Khalil Shakir, the 2 tight ends, and they finally have a running game with James Cook and Ray Davis. So if I had to say there's any team in the AFC that I think I'm the highest on, I would say it's the Bills. The Chiefs are obviously great. They're 7-0. Wouldn't it be the least bit surprised if the Chiefs' first loss is to the Bills?
Josh Allen's as efficient as he's ever been, man. Got to give you credit. You called that one. He's been on fire.
I wouldn't be surprised. Right now, Jamar Jackson, stat-wise, probably better. But when it's all said and done, wouldn't be surprised if this is Josh Allen's MVP season.
Stat-wise, he's not even up there right now, like as far as yardage. I think he has like 1,700, which is like 8th in the league or something.
Yeah.
But again, he's being extremely efficient. He's completing like 67% of his passes. His expected points average is way up. I think it's like 3rd in the league. I think it's like behind Lamar and Jaden Daniels even. So you don't see Josh Allen typically in that area of that statistical category. Normally you see him up in the yards and touchdowns, but you see a lot of turnovers and all the extra analytics. You kind of see him towards the bottom. Well, right now he's towards the top as far as efficiency goes.
And that's it, everybody. That is your quick hits for tonight. We went through it all. So, yeah, that's football. If you're just joining us, the Dodgers are your 2024 World Series champions. And the Warriors are leading 91-74 with 6 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Looks like Steve Kerr knows what he's doing. Anything else you want to get to tonight, Steven?
I guess like this can count towards pop culture catch up, but I watched an entire show from the flight there, from sometimes in the middle of the trip, and on the flight back. Actually, I had a couple of more episodes when I got back home, but I finished it. Slow Horses on Apple TV.
Tom Tolbert has endorsed this show a lot.
It's amazing.
Okay.
I don't want to even say amazing. It keeps you engaged. It has everything. It's about a bunch of MI5 agents who are placed in this department, which is basically for cast-offs of the MI5. And Gary Oldman is, I don't want to say he's like a washed-up spy, but he's a guy who's the head of that department. And Gary Oldman is awesome in this show. He is just your quintessential London dick. Just always has just a snarky response to everything, but the dialogue is gold, and they got some really good actors. There's I don't know the actor's name, but there's a character in the show called River Cartwright, and the actor's been in Dunkirk. He's been in a couple other things. I think he's going to become pretty big after this show. He's
all
awesome.
Right. We'll do more pop culture catch up on Saturday because there's a lot. Like, to be completely honest, I did not do any of it with Alon. We pretty much stuck to football the whole time. So
no way.
We'll go through pop culture catch up. I'll give you my thoughts on the Penguin. I've been watching that. I still need to watch the Vince McMahon documentary. I need to get around to that. And there's a movie that I want to talk to you about that's coming out that I saw the trailer for and I thought was incredibly weird, but I'm very fascinated by. So we'll talk about that next time.
Wow.
And we'll go through some trades that could be on the horizon for this Tuesday. Big day in America, the NFL trade deadline. By the way, we'll be on that night. We'll mostly keep it sports related, but if you want some election updates, we'll give you that too next Tuesday.
Yeah. We'll be sure to give you the the electoral votes and where they're going.
Yeah, Steven will be Steve Lang Khaki that night.
Lang Khaki.
Yeah, Steve Karnacki. It's Steve Lang Khaki.
Wolf.
We'll get you a pair. We'll get you a pair of glasses and whatnot. All right, before we get out of here, let's pick the Thursday night game. Jets. And this doesn't make any sense to me. Texans are playing the Jets. Jets are 2-point favorites. Over under 42.5. How does that make any sense? The 6-2 Texans are playing the 2-6 Jets, and the Jets are 2-point favorites.
Yeah, I don't get that. I guess it's because maybe they're at home.
Short week.
I don't know. Just give me the Texans to pull off the upset, and I'll take the. Actually, I'll take the under. I think it'll be low scoring.
I'm going to take the under as well. I think it's going to be an adjustment with the first game without Stephon Diggs. Against my better judgment, I'll go with the Jets to win this game because they kind of have to. And the Jets beat the Texans last year, if I remember correctly, with Tim Boyle at quarterback. They beat up on C.J. Stroud, so could be the case.
Also, something on my mind: the Costco guys. Have you seen this? Where Jimmy Fallon is just, where they're on Jimmy Fallon. You haven't seen the Costco guys, Boom or Doom,
the Riz or whatever the fuck,
and the Rizzler.
Yeah. I don't know what those guys are. I just know that I don't like them.
It's so cringy, man. It's like the dad clearly just wants to be famous. The kid is just joining along, and then there's this random Rizzler who's just this chubby child, and
he were being nice.
It's this ironic thing that the internet does, where it's like we're not laughing with them. It's this thing where the internet's laughing at them, and I almost feel bad because the internet's laughing at them. And Jimmy Fallon,
but you know what, they want it.
Yeah, and they're getting the attention. And Jimmy Fallon had him on his show, and their whole thing is we bring the boom. And dude, 30 seconds into the interview, that's exactly what the dad does. He's like, we bring the boom to the crowd. And as he's saying it, Fallon's like, yeah, okay, we bring the boom. Good. It's so funny.
That's where we're at now, man, with these people being celebrities. Real quick before we get out of here.
Shout out to Barstool. They did this whole thing. They're the ones that got them real popular.
Oh shit.
Jesus.
Speaking of which, people that don't need to be popular, the two fucking jamokes that took the ball out of Mookie Betts' glove last night. Come on. Like, I know, like, some Yankee fans are, like, championing them, be like, yeah, good for them. They came in our territory. Fuck them. Fuck Mookie. No. I'm sorry. That was a clown move. And for Jesse Rogers to do a, like, whole article on them, like, I don't give two shits about these guys. If you want my honest opinion, it's along the lines of, remember that kid, the Celtics fan that threw the water bottle at Kyrie Irving?
Yes.
He got a lifetime ban from the NBA, and he threw a water bottle. And I don't condone that, but he was a young kid. These are two grown-ass men that apparently Rob Gronkowski knows that went to Arizona. And, yeah, they not assaulted, but they grabbed Mookie Betts. You can't interfere with a player like that, especially in the World Series. So if you're asking me, yeah, I would ban those guys. Maybe not a lifetime ban, but I would ban those guys for a full season. They're not allowed to show up to MLB games.
I would absolutely. I'd take away their season tickets.
Yep.
Like, you don't deserve to sit there if you're going to be doing that. Like, you're not on the team. Betts clearly caught the ball, and they said that we're not going to go out of our way to attack. They did. They totally went out of their way to attack. Like that was not provoked, and he was holding his glove like a child, man. I thought that was an embarrassment for Yankee fans.
Yeah, not a good look. All right, everybody, that is just your opinion, man, for tonight. Dodgers are your World Series champions. We will be back on Saturday to pick all of the. Was it week 9? Are we in week 9? Yeah, we are. Jesus,
Correct,
man, this
yeah.
is going fast. And just to give you an update on the Warrior game, how they doing, where we at with that.
It's an 95-82.
95-82. Good. All right. Real quick before we get out of here, I wanted to say this. You guys have been asking, when can we all meet up and have like a good old Just Your Opinion Man meet, a JYOM meet? And we're going to do it this Saturday. Oh, sorry, not Saturday, this Sunday. But talking to the Ernies, and we're gonna get together in Walnut Creek this Saturday. So if you want to come on by, hang out with me and Steven, we're gonna be watching football at Masses at Walnut Creek. So come on through. I'll be there at 10 a.m. Don't know what time Steven's gonna roll through, but we'll be watching
Sunday,
games.
Derek. You said Saturday earlier again. It's Sunday.
My bad. Okay, we're doing a show on Saturday. We'll be there at Masses on Sunday. So the JYOM meetup this Sunday, 10 a.m. Everyone, all the Opiners, you are invited. Come on through. We'll be watching games. Come join us. Yeah, it's Sunday. It's Sunday. AJ Cruz. Sunday. Okay. To all the Opiners out there, Ernie 1, Ernie 2, AJ Cruz, Skills Report, Tacky, Danny Golding TV. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Aram. Come on through on Sunday and come watch the show on Saturday. We'll be back then. Steven, glad to have you back, my friend. Say what you always say.
Oh, it is. Just our opinion, man. I'm going to go eat some chips, Tua. Oh, wait. It's leaving the studio. Okay.